Thank you very much, fellow Africans, and welcome to our today's episode of the Change for African campaign. Fellow Africans, being on Friday, I am glad to present to you our 35th episode of the Change for African campaign. And as usual, on Fridays, it is about our fifth pillar of the Change for African campaign, which is about the climate change that we face in Africa. And so, fellow Africans, with respect to our this week's procedure that will be using the Africa Agenda 2063 to help us illustrate or exemplify on our five pillars of the Change for African campaign. Still, I am glad that we have been able to cover we have been able to use four aspirations of the Africa Agenda 2063 to help us cover our four pillars of the Change for Africa campaign. And so today, being on Friday, I've realized that it is a coincidence because our fifth pillar still is about climate. Will be repeating one of the aspirations of the Africa Agenda 2063, which is the aspiration number one, that they want a prosperous Africa based on inclusive growth and sustainable development. And so under this aspiration is why we have issues to do with industrialization, agriculture, value addition, climate resilience, and sustainable resource management. This is an aspiration of the Africa Agenda 2063 that was adopted in 2015 by the African Union. And so the very thing I want us to focus is one of the things whereby since it is about climate change today, I want us to see because under this aspiration we are seeing whereby we have climate resilience and sustainable resource management. But I want us to focus on the climate resilience and maybe what was put in place or what was suggested to be able to run this. That as by 2063 we should have achieved this in this sector of climate, or this issue to do with climate change. And so that's why we have the climate resilience. And so one of the issue of concern under this aspiration, the project that they put in place was the Africa Renewable Energy Initiative or Array. That was launched in 2015, and the main goal for this was to have 10 gigawatts, of renewable energy by 2020, and at least 300 gigawatts of renewable energy by 2030. And I've realized that as by 2020 they had made a step in terms of being able to achieve 10 gigawatts of power of non-renewable energy, because the key point here is the renewable energy. Because in issues to do with climate change, you realize that one of the very things that accelerate climate change and things to do with global warming, it is having the non-renewable energy, because non-renewable energy emit fossils, emit some harmful gases into the atmosphere. So these gases are the ones that accelerate issues to do with the rapid effects of climate change, the global warming, rising in global temperatures. Those are things to do with that come from the non-renewable energy sources. Examples of non-renewable energy sources, these are the most prevalent sources of energy used in Africa, also to run most of our industry or very critical industries such as transport. It's an industry whereby we still use non-renewable energy. Industries such as many of the industries, we have examples of coal, we have examples of petroleum. These are non-renewable energy sources because they do not burn completely, and so they end up emitting harmful gases into the atmosphere, of which these gases form a blanket, or these gases destroy what you call the ozone layer. And so when the ozone layer is destroyed, you realize that there's a direct sunlight rays coming into the earth, which lead to issues to do with global warming, because now when the intense heat comes into the earth's surface or the atmosphere, it is very hard for it to escape back into the space, so it remains here, accumulates, and then leads to what we call the global warming. And so but if we have the renewable energy sources, it means that most of this is clean energy, that is being produced. So clean energy being produced means that it will minimize on the rate at which the gases of the harmful gases are emitted into the atmosphere, which will be a game changer in terms of global warming and things to do with climate and effects that come with climate change. we have so many effects of drought, will be minimized because we'll be having renewable energy, which is clean energy, as to say for this. And so these are issues of concern, because these are the areas that they need now to accelerate and see how we can be able to combat the issues of climate change, because it is true that ripple of the effects of climate change, they can be touched, they can be seen, and they are real. Where people actually, one of the other things that make the huge African populations in some parts of Africa to be, just move from one place to another or being displaced, it's because of climate change. Because climate change comes with its very worrying, it comes with its effects, and people are affected, and people cannot be able to maybe sustain that, so they have to move, they have to be displaced because of climate change. Where there's no rainfall, people can't stay there because they will die because of hunger, because of thirst, there's a drought. These are the issues that come with effects of climate change, or the issues that come with climate change. And so this is an area whereby we need to see what we do more so in our energy sector. When we speak about renewable energy, let us make sure that we are there to that. We are able to produce renewable energy, which is actually at a lower cost, because if we produce it ourselves in Africa, meaning that even reaching the consumer of Africa, it will be at a little bit lower cost, and so this will be good for the African population. So therefore, fellow Africans, as I end this week's episodes and about the Change for African campaign, I'm glad to have been with you all through the week. We have discussed this about the Africa Agenda 2063 of the Africa we want. It is our obligatory concern to make sure that we turn Africa into a global powerhouse, we turn Africa into a real situation. When we speak about the agendas we put in place, let us make sure we see on how we are going to implement these agendas that we put in place. Thank you. Wish you a prosperous weekend ahead. For those, let us have an interesting weekend, and we shall have more to speak during the weekend if there need be. Thank you, and God bless you.